Hey guys, Tyler here. In previous videos, I've attempted to map the route of the USS Enterprise in Star Trek the Original Series and Star Trek The Next Generation. To help guide these endeavors, I've relied on various non-canon reference books like Star Trek Star Charts and Stellar Cartography, the Starfleet Reference Library, as well as fan projects like Simon Mata's StarTrekMap.com, and some canon star maps too, many of which are based on star charts anyway. Since I recently released a retrospective video on Star Trek Enterprise, I thought I'd make a map video charting the route of the NX-01 as well. Many of the locations visited in Season 1 are already mapped in star charts, but since it was published in 2002, for the later seasons, I'll have to do more guesswork. It should also be noted that while Archer's logs in Enterprise give Gregorian calendar dates rather than star dates, some episodes still occur out of sequence, and for many episodes there aren't any dates at all, so I'll try to make up for any discrepancies. Having said all that, let's get started. Did you know that flavored air devices are quickly becoming the leading alternative to vaping and smoking? It's an entire new movement towards better habits, led by today's sponsor, Fume. Fume is an award-winning flavored air device that fills the void ditching a bad habit can leave. You'll still have something to reach for. Fume draws flavor to your mouth through a passive diffusion system, but doesn't use vapor, meaning you can use it anywhere. No nicotine, so it's not addictive. And no batteries, so you'll never have to charge it. The device looks awesome, is perfectly weighted, and incredibly fun to fidget with. If vapor were compared to sticky soda, Fume cores are closer to herbal teas. They've got lots of delicious flavors to choose from, like crisp mint and orange vanilla. Based on my channel name, you can probably tell which one piqued my interest the most. This holiday season, you can give the gift of better habits with Fume. Head to tryfume.com/OrangeRiver and use code OrangeRiver to get a free Fume topper when you order a Journey Pack. It's the perfect addition to make your gift even more special. And if you're lucky, you could even win one of Fume's limited edition, gold-plated devices this holiday season. Again, tryfume.com/OrangeRiver or just scan the QR code on screen to grab yours now and make someone's holiday unforgettable. Now, back to the video. Enterprise's premiere episode, Broken Bow, sees the crew on their maiden voyage journey from Earth to Kronos, the Klingon homeworld. On the way, they stop at Rigel 10 to retrieve the Klingon courier Kang, who has been kidnapped by members of the Suliban Cabal. Rigel 10 is typically mapped as part of the fictitious Beta Rigel system a few dozen light-years away. Following this, they return to Earth. In Fight or Flight, the crew has an encounter with the Axanar species, possibly near Axanar itself, which Star Charts places in the Epsilon Eridani system. Strange New World sees the crew discover a strange new world around 61 Ursae Majoris, a planet later named Archer 4. While the 24th century maps and star charts place Archer over 100 light-years away on the other side of Klingon space, 61 Ursae Majoris is 31 light-years away, and Stellar Cartography makes a distinction between the two. After Trip Tucker has an unexpected pregnancy by a Xyrillian near their space, the crew rediscovers the lost human colony of Terra Nova, which orbits Eta Cassiopeia. The crew uncovers a Vulcan listening post on the planet Pajim, orbiting Lyton Star, in the Andorian incident. At some point, the crew observes Archer's Comet, located in the Beta Quadrant, but the next dated escapade is the homeworld of the Akali in Civilization. While Star Charts suggests Akali orbits Omega Sagittarii, this is understood to be an error given Sagittarius is in the complete opposite direction from the perspective of the Sol system. Akali's just Akali. Let's leave it at that. August 2151 sees the NX-01 deploy two subspace amplifiers, Echo 1 and Echo 2, both of which are destroyed in September 2151 by a silent enemy. Following this, the crew studies the Agasauria Nebula in Cold Front. Dear Doctor sees the crew visit Valakis, home to the dying Valakian race and their cousin species, the Mink. After observing a gas giant and encountering the Klingons again in Shadows of Pajim, Archer and T'Pol are taken prisoner on the war-torn Corridon, which orbits 54 Orionis. After Trip and Reed are stranded in a shuttle pod amid an asteroid field en route to Tesnia, Enterprise observes the Arachnid Nebula and the rogue planet Dakala, before having an early run-in with the Ferengi in Acquisition. The crew meet the Kantari on an uninhabited M-class planet near their colony, Kotara Barath, in Oasis. After Archer and Mayweather are detained by the Tandarans, Enterprise escorts an ambassador partway to Vulcan from Mazar in Fallen Hero. Archer and Trip are invited to the Tarathan homeworld in Desert Crossing before the ship reaches Risa, orbiting Epsilon Ceti 93 light-years away in 2 days and 2 nights. While most reference materials depict Risa as being significantly closer to Earth than Kronos, Risa is at this point the farthest the ship has traveled, meaning Kronos is really less than 90 light-years from Earth, though I've kept these systems laid out like in star charts for artistic purposes. In any event, the Season 1 finale, Shockwave, takes the NX-01 to Paraga and other nearby systems on a quest to prove their innocence against charges of destroying the Paragan II colony. As I mentioned earlier, the location of many events and systems in Season 2 onward is very indeterminate, but we can make some educated guesses. For instance, after Carbon Creek, the NX-01 encounters a Romulan minefield in Minefield, which presumably occurs near Romulan space. The crew also visits an automated repair station in Dead Stop, and this is presumably in the Alpha Quadrant due to the presence of a Cardassian among the dead bodies aboard. Keep in mind that weeks or months can sometimes pass between Enterprise episodes, so there's enough time for the ship to travel from place to place. But I'm going to start my Season 2 route at Kritasa, where the ship visits in A Night in Sickbay, when Porthos catches an infection there. The crew discovers a mining colony being controlled by Klingon marauders, presumably near their space, before catching a Vulcan fugitive in the Pernaya system in the 7th. Pernaya's location is the first truly speculative one on my map, as is the location of the pre-warp homeworld of Ghosts species in the Communicator. The crew observes an unidentified trinary star system in Singularity before visiting an unidentified planet in Vanishing Point, and Trip must put up with a spoiled Creosian princess in Precious Cargo. Given Krios' historic association with the Klingon Empire, it's likely these episodes take place near the Klingon border as well. The NX-01 passes through a deadly neutronic storm in the Catwalk, and Trip stars in a rehash of Darmok called Dawn near Arconian space, before the crew solicits information about Panar syndrome from Dakindi 3 in Stigma. These systems are likely partway between Klingon space and Vulcan and Andorian space, where the Enterprise visits in Ceasefire, where we learn of the disputed planetoid Waitan. The crew finds a 31st century time pod in future tense, and Canamar sees Archer and Tucker taken prisoner on a ship bound for a prison colony of the same name, run by the Enolians. Some of the crew is possessed by non-corporeal life forms called wisps in The Crossing, before Archer is rescued from the Klingon penal asteroid Rurapinthe in Judgment. Then we meet Travis's family near an unidentified planet in Horizon, before Enterprise rescues 3 Denobulan scientists from the xenophobic Xantoris homeworld. This episode may take place in the Alpha Quadrant near Denobula, which is in the Boötis constellation. Trip sparks a cultural incident with the Visians while the crew studies a hypergiant near their space, though it's uncertain where Visia is located. After dealing with loose Borg drones near Earth in Regeneration, the crew observes a dark matter nebula in First Flight before Archer is captured by a Tellarite bounty hunter in Bounty, leading the crew to various worlds, potentially between Tellarite and Klingon space. This is before Enterprise is recalled back to Earth once again to deal with the fallout of the Xindi attack, which then leads the crew into the mysterious Delphic Expanse. Enterprise's journey through the Delphic Expanse is difficult to accurately map, but given the expanse is 2,000 light-years across, it's been speculated that it represents a rather vertical or slanted slice of the Milky Way's galactic disk. And while Mata's map depicts the expanse as being in the Alpha Quadrant, stellar cartography places it in the Beta Quadrant. Either way, I'll be illustrating it as a journey into the abyss, as it were, approximately 90 degrees perpendicular to the direction of the map I've been charting, and using Mata's system placement as reference. After searching for clues about the Xindi at a Trellium mining facility and passing through the first of several spatial anomalies, several Enterprise crew members temporarily mutate into members of the extinct Lokek species on their homeworld in extinction. The crew's search for the Xindi takes them to Norellis and Xanthan, while unwittingly taking on an Orantaku spy in Regine. They find a drifting Vulcan cruiser in Impulse before rescuing Hoshi from Tarquin's planet near Sphere 2 in Exile. Tarquin gives the crew valuable intel, leading them to a Xindi mining outpost in The Shipment, before encountering a time anomaly in Twilight, and before the crew gets their Wild West on at the Skagaran colony in North Star. The locations of the next two episodes, Similitude and Carpenter Street, are indeterminate, although in Carpenter Street, Archer and DePaul travel back in time to 2004 Earth. The crew encounters the Trianon species and the 12th Sphere in Chosen Realm before Shran helps the NX-01 fend off a Xindi attack in Proving Ground. The crew captures Degra in Stratagem and rescues a dying sphere builder in Harbinger, though the location of these events is also difficult to gauge. Phlox assumes command of the ship while the crew passes through a special disturbance in Doctor's Orders, and the crew finds a Xindi insectoid hatchery before heading for Azadi Prime, location of the Xindi superweapon. Archer makes the fateful decision to strand a group of Illyrians a year from their homeworld in Damage, stealing their warp coil after an attack with the Xindi reptilians. In The Forgotten, they meet with Degra and the Xindi arboreal Jannar at an unnamed sphere to show evidence of the sphere builder's deception. The ship passes through Xindi subspace vortices in E² and in the Council after finally making it to the Xindi Council planet, then try to disarm the superweapon in Countdown and 0 Hour, after which the crew destroys the entire sphere network, relegating the Delphic Expanse to history. Of course, when they return to Earth, it's not the Earth they recognize. After correcting the timeline from Nakul interference in Stormfront and taking some much-needed shore leave in Home, Enterprise chases Eric Soong and his augment children to the Borderland, the region of space between the Orion Syndicate and Klingon Empire. This trip includes the Syndicate outpost Verex 3 in Borderland, and Soong's old hideout Trialos 4 in Cold Station 12, before concluding at the Klingon colony Kuvat in the Augments. Enterprise returns to Earth in The Forge before heading to Vulcan in Awakening and uncovering the Kirshara, after which they help deflect a standoff between the Vulcans and Andorians before returning to Earth again. Daedalus sees the crew travel to a place called the Barrens under the pretense of testing a new transporter prototype, but I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea where the hell the Barrens is supposed to be, so I'm not going to map it. Sorry. In any event, members of the crew are possessed once again, this time by the Organians in Observer Effect, while contracting a silicon-based virus from an unidentified planet. It's uncertain if this episode takes place near Organia, which famously is near the Klingon border, but so many months pass between the Augments and Episode 12, Babel 1, that it's hard to say where all the ship goes in that time, besides Vulcan and Andorian space. The NX-01 deflects tensions between the Andorians and Tellarites in the three-part arc starting with Babel 1, taking place partly at Babel, orbiting Wolf 424, before Enterprise heads to Andoria. Affliction marks the return of the Klingons in Season 4, when the crew must deal with the fallout of the augment virus in Klingon space, including a return to Kuvat. In Bound, the crew is tricked by Orion slave girls, quote-unquote, while en route to Berengarius, where Starfleet is considering building its first starbase. Given that Starbase 1 is canonically located in the Sol system, this evidently did not come to pass, and the location of Berengarius, home of the notorious Berengarian dragons, is uncertain, but it's supposedly a core Federation world, and the novel continuity suggests it's within the vicinity of Romulan space, which is good enough for me. And after the two-part In a Mirror Darkly, which takes place in the Mirror Universe, Enterprise deals with the Terra Prime threat near Earth in Demons and Terra Prime. And there were no more episodes of Enterprise after that. With that, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below and don't forget to share it. That stuff really helps me out. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to do that as well so you won't miss future uploads, and click the bell icon to receive all notifications. If you want to support my work even further, you can become a patron at patreon.com/OrangeRiver, link in the description. Or become a YouTube member by clicking the join button on my channel page. By becoming a patron or member, you also get access to awesome perks like behind the scenes photos and videos, patron and member only polls, name in the credits, merch discounts, and more. Or you can drop a one-time super thanks or PayPal donation. All are appreciated. Links to my PayPal, as well as my social media and merch store, are in the description too. And big thanks once again to Fume for sponsoring today's video. Also, just as a reminder, I do have a second channel, OrangeRiver Plus, where I've uploaded the VODs of lots of my gaming streams, with more on the way. And in addition to some other goofy one-offs and extra behind-the-scenes content, I've officially made it my second streaming platform, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new content. That's all I have for this week. Live long and prosper. Do you like merchandise? If so, head on over to the new and improved OrangeRiver merch store. That's right, OrangeRiver is now officially on Spreadshop. I've got a bunch of awesome new designs, including All the Way Down,
All the Way,
Vape God, Tally, aka Best Girl,
it was totally worth it.
and what is perhaps my greatest design yet,
I love being married to my husband.
Plus, I've got some of my classic designs like OrangeRiver Arrowhead, N7, Metroid, Mycelial Network,
The Mycelial Network is like
Mycelial Network, and more. And there are even some new products like OrangeRiver hats. That's right, OrangeRiver hats now exist. Visit the link in the description to get discounts and other special deals on items from my store. Captain's Log, Stardate 81001.35. We are minutes away from the launch of the vessel of which I've been assigned command, the USS Endurance.
Captain on the bridge.
Take us out, Ensign Makara.
Captain, we're getting a hail from Starfleet HQ.
The colony at Garani is experiencing severe tectonic instability.
By the prophets!
Sir, more incoming vessels dropping out of warp near our position. They're Tholians.
Evasive maneuvers.
Sir, the anomaly is growing at an accelerating rate.
I've got wounded coming in already!
Joshi to bridge. Impulse engines are showing major mechanical stress.
¿Qué demonios?
You don't believe in fate.
Lieutenant Hugon, I'm putting you in charge of handling incoming refugees.
I can do it, sir.
My people slew our gods centuries ago. Let's hope hers are with us today.